Today, I want to talk about Brennan Marion joining Hawaii as the wide receivers coach, Mel Tucker accepting the head coaching gig at Michigan State, and my one burning question for Lincoln Riley ahead of today's press conference, the first one that he's given since losing college football playoff semifinal. Yeah, all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, as I told you, we're going to talk about Brennan Marion, Mel Tucker, and Lincoln Riley. Do not sleep on the Jared Lorenzen hoodie. Hefty lefty for life, y'all. RIP, rest in power, King. Now, I want to touch on Brennan Marion because, well, I went to school with Brennan at the University of Tulsa, and his story, well documented. But for those of you that don't know, you're rooting for Brennan Marion. You just didn't know that you were until right now. Brennan went to 2 different junior college programs, played at 7 different high schools, and battled homelessness, not unlike one of my other favorite players, Josh Jacobs, who's from Tulsa, went to McLean and eventually went to Alabama and was a first-round draft pick en route to being one of the best rookies in the NFL last year for the Las Vegas Raiders. Marion set the NCAA record for yards per catch at 31.9 in one season and set the NCAA record for a career with per catch numbers of 28.7 yards per catch. Brennan Marion was taking the top off your defense, whether you liked it or not. I was still throwing white girls in the air as a cheerleader at the University of Tulsa. When he blew out his knee against East Carolina, it was, you knew it right away. It was awful. And I think that's the reason that he went undrafted. I think that's the reason he didn't have a long career in the NFL, because those of us that got to know Brennan really came to love the man. And when you learned about his story and how he got to the University of Tulsa, he was coming out of Foothill Community College where a dude had him playing fullback and blocking. Brennan Marion is a wide receiver. You don't do that kind of stuff. Goes to another junior college, goes for over 1,000 yards, ends up at the University of Tulsa, has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and, of course, that horrific knee injury. Then makes his way up as a high school football coach with his go-go offense. It's better to just describe it. I don't know how many other people you're going to see line up with 5 eligible receivers to the strong side, but he would have 2 backs to the right of the quarterback and a stack of 2 and 1 on the outside. Matter of fact, let's just drop that video of Brennan Marion talking about what the go-go offense looks like and the principles for it right here.
Okay, so how do we install the offense, all right? Here's a cool picture right here on having our 5 guys lined up into the boundary, all right? So you see a picture right there that you'd be hard-pressed to see any other team line up like that in the country, okay? 2 receivers on the ball, receiver off the ball. We're in an unbalanced set here. 2 running backs in the backfield, okay, side by side. All right, so how do we install plays? Our philosophy, okay, how we tell our players, we create the selfless with our players. Go-go is how you play without the ball determines how much you love your teammates, okay? How you play without the football determines how much you love your teammates. Because everybody, okay, from the little league age up, wanted to get the ball in their hands, okay, and run with the ball, okay? But not everybody wants to block. Okay, not everybody wants to run the guy off. Not everybody wants to run the route that gets somebody else open, carry out the fake, all those little things that make a play truly work, okay? We're organic, okay? We're going to err on the side of creativity, all right? What we do is we're not trying to copy anybody or be the same as or be business as usual, okay? We're going to do what we do, okay, and create different ways to do what we do, okay? Toughness, okay? We are 2-back, power run, vertical shot team. We're going to throw the ball deep down the field, okay, and we're going to have 2 backs in the backfield to run the ball downhill. All right, pace. All right, pace. 2-minute pace at all times to create a 5th quarter. All right, when we try to create a normal game, all right, it's 60 snaps, 60 to 65 snaps. We're trying to get into the 80, 90 snap range, okay? Last year we were at 78, okay, and that's not good enough, okay? We need to be higher, all right? Personnel, all right? So for the high school coaches like me that started off as a high school coach, if you want to run this offense, all you truly need is 1 vertical threat, 2 running backs, and a quarterback, okay, that can understand how to distribute the football, okay? Can understand how to distribute the football. He doesn't have to be a great runner, Okay, he doesn't have to be a big, dynamic guy. Okay, we've had quarterbacks who couldn't run and still ran for yards, and we have quarterbacks who can run and run for a lot of yards. It doesn't matter, okay? Either one will help you.
So that's Brennan Marion. He's going to coach the wide receivers for Todd Graham at the University of Hawaii. Todd Graham also hired his son Brandon as an offensive assistant. I expect them to be good if they can recruit. I know it's tough to recruit to Hawaii, and it's tough to keep the talent that's coming out of Hawaii in Hawaii. I mean, Jordan Ta'amu, of course, the Tagovailoa brothers, and so forth, so on. They just lost Cole McDonald, who declared for the NFL draft. He was an outstanding quarterback for them. Mel Tucker leaves Colorado after a year where they were 5-7, but finished 35th in the recruiting rankings in 2020, which is also 10 spots ahead of Oklahoma State. So you could say they actually were doing pretty well, and Mel Tucker had that thing flipped around and going. He goes back to Big Ten country. He was at Michigan State for a little bit on Nick Saban's staff when he was there, but he made his name in the NFL and then came back to Alabama, where, among other things, he helped coach that team to a national championship, was defensive coordinator for Kirby Smart at Georgia for a little bit before he got the head coaching job at Colorado. And one of the big wins for Beekman, athletic director at Michigan State, in all of this is that he convinced not only Mel Tucker to come, but also increased the assisted salary budget to over $3 million and more than doubled Mel Tucker's annual salary to get him to take this job. Now, we all know this is probably going to come with some sanctions here down the road, and that Michigan State is in a bad way. And even in the best of years, they needed a down Penn State, a down Ohio State, Michigan, who didn't know who was supposed to coach the team at the time, to all be bad for them to make the college football playoff. And when you think about what Wisconsin might be able to do any year, they might be the fourth best team in their own division. So Mel Tucker is going to have to lean on principles that he actually illuminated in Denver when he took the job last year, which was, hey, I need to recruit difference makers in all phases. If I don't have difference makers at the offensive side, the defensive side, and the special team side, we're not going to be any good. So he's going to recruit. That said, Drew Pearson also is loudly yelling about Mel Tucker on Twitter, saying that he lied to him and to his face about what his grandson might be able to do at Colorado. Yikes. Show me a great recruiter that doesn't have a war story like that, though. That includes Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Ed Orgeron, and of course, Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley with Austin Kendall, for many of you that know. But I like this hire. It also makes Mel Tucker the 13th black head coach in FBS, and I can't say enough good things about that. That makes me feel good. I know that Michigan State is a tough job. I know that if you recruit the state, you're going to be good, though, and I expect Mel Tucker to go out there and recruit. We'll see what he can put around him from an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator position, because we all thought that the coaching carousel had ended, and then Mark D'Antonio actually stepped down as the Michigan State head coach, choosing to retire 24 hours before signing day and just hours before the report Curtis Blackwell came out of him alleging that they had broken NCAA recruiting violations, with D'Antonio bringing Curtis Blackwell with him on an in-home visit to visit a five-star recruit. A lot of mop-up duty for Mel Tucker is ahead, but what we know about him, the man's got a strong back, the man's got a strong will, and I think he's going to be able to do something good for the Michigan State University alumni who really want a winner. And now for Lincoln Riley, who is going to give his first press conference since the Peach Bowl and since signing day, later today at around 3 o'clock. And among the questions that I had for him were, what does Tanner Mordecai have to do to beat out Spencer Rattler as the starting quarterback in 2020? Because what we all expect to happen is that the five-star quarterback who threw for an Arizona State record in passing yards, who is throwing behind the back passes 40 yards, who can throw the ball 70 yards through the air, who is the leader in the clubhouse and has all the swag that you want, it's going to be the starting quarterback. It's Spencer Rattler. Tanner Mordecai does not necessarily have the same physical attributes as Rattler, but folks who are in his camp will tell you that kid's a winner. All right, down in Waco Midway, he willed them into state championship, and he was also passing for 3,000, rushing for over 1,000, so he can move. And when he got an opportunity to spin it, he looked good spinning it. But we're also looking at Rattler, and we're looking at the Heisman odds, because the Heisman odds have already come out, and he's in the top 10 because, well, we all expect him to be the quarterback, and whoever Lincoln Riley taps as the QB, you expect to be able to go out there and win. And as much as Riley tries to put on the charade for the last 3 years now of 8 months of, hey, look, nobody's got the job. You still got to go win the job. We've all been right about who's going to win the job, right? You, me, anybody that's been a casual observer of Oklahoma Sooners football, we picked Kyler Murray. We picked Jalen Hurts. We're picking Spencer Rattler. But I would love to hear him talk about what Tanner Mordecai needs to be able to do. I would also like to hear him talk about what are his expectations for this recruiting class in 2020. I know that, it's easy to say we expect to compete for a national championship, but you have an offensive line heavy group, right, that are really talented, but Bill Bedenbaugh has never been fond of throwing true freshmen into the fray at any stage in the game, quite honestly. What does he expect to get out of wide receivers like Marvin Mims and Trayvon West and Brian Darby? What does he expect to get out of Shane Witter and Brendan Walker, who I think have the best opportunity to play right away, along with Bryson Washington and Justin Harrington when he gets here, depending on what kind of shape he is in? You never can tell with some junior college guys, but I know the guys that get here in the winter for early enrollment usually have an opportunity to play right away and immediately impact your football team. Those two guys are Josh Ellison and Perion Winfrey right now. Both are defensive tackles. Both are guys you need to give you really great snaps, because you lose not just Neville Gallimore, but Q Overton, Dylan Falmatau. You really need Marcus Hicks to come on. You really need Marcus Stripling to come on. You need to have depth at that particular position, not necessarily just to win the Big 12, but to have an opportunity to compete outside of the Big 12 with a big September game on the table right now against Tennessee, who's trending upward. So I would really love to hear him speak about that. I'd like to hear him talk about what it means to have Bobby Petrino as the head coach of Missouri State for the opener. Because as much as we don't expect Missouri State's personnel to be great, perhaps Bobby Petrino might be able to pull out some offensive magic in his first game against the best team that they're going to play all year long. Be interesting to hear his take on how he feels about Petrino, how he feels about the Missouri State situation. But also, it'd be nice to hear him talk to reporters about Jamar Cain and DeMarco Murray, two of his offseason, big gets, quite honestly. I think they're bigger gets than any recruit that he got, and he got some good recruits. But when you talk about Jamar Cain, you talk about one of the best recruiters in the Pac-12, a man that has proven he can develop talent at the FCS level and at the FBS level, who's coming from a pretty doggone good staff Herm Edwards put together that now includes Marvin Lewis as co-defense coordinator, Antonio Pierce obviously as co-defense coordinator, lead recruiter. And what do you expect DeMarco Murray to be able to provide Oklahoma outside of the star advantage, right? We all know what kind of a superstar DeMarco Murray was as a player, but he's only been coaching, not coaching in college, coaching for a single year. What is he going to be able to provide the running backs? What is he going to be able to give them? Because what my take on many star athletes is, in many cases, they just know how to play, and they never had to actually teach the fundamentals and the detail-oriented, fundamentals of what it takes to win at that level, because they've always just kind of had that in their bag. Bill Russell is an example of this. He was coach for the Celtics. It didn't go so well because he would look at players and be like, why don't you just do it like me? Because you're Bill friggin' Russell. That's why. The rest of us aren't. You're going to have to be able to teach those kids how to be great running backs, but he has a great group of kids to teach. That includes Seth McGowan, who is an early enrollee and might be pound for pound the strongest guy on campus. I am not kidding. Ramondre Stevenson, we'll see how long the suspension goes. We'll see if Lincoln Riley has anything to say about that. Marcus Major ought to be good to go, and he drew comparisons to Adrian Peterson coming out of Millwood. You know how I love Oklahoma high school football players playing at Oklahoma. I think it just means a little bit more to them. But you also got Kennedy Brooks and Trey Sermon coming back. So it's not like doesn't have great pupils already. Those are just a few of the things that I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure we're all going to come out with some news that we did not expect to hear, maybe a grad transfer here or there. What he thinks of Obi Obialo, what he thinks of Theo Howard going down. It's all going to be fascinating. All right, that's it for me. Doses.